According to the 2014 World Health Organization titled Drowning, drowning is the third leading cause of unintentional injury death worldwide, accounting for 7% of all injured real deaths. The importance to learn how to swim is great because it's a life-saving skill. You can be in certain situations where, for example, you fall into a pool. If you don't know how to swim, you can't get yourself out unless there's a lifeguard on duty, or someone who knows how to swim can come rescue you, or maybe you're on a boat and you're stuck. The reason why I think it's important and why I can talk about this is I taught swim lessons for 3 years at the YMCA. I taught ages 2 to 14, and I've taught a couple adults and a couple people that were special needs. First, I'm going to talk about the importance of learning how to swim. Second, I'm going to talk about the first 3 stages that they teach at the YMCA. Then the third step is I'm going to be talking about like life-saving stroke, which is called breaststroke, and other strokes that are also important. According to the 2012 Health and Medicine Business Insights with the title USA Swimming Foundations Make a Splash with Colin Jones, drowning is an epidemic, but it's an epidemic with a solution. Raising awareness and providing opportunities for more kids to learn how to swim. So first again, I'm going to talk about my first 3 stages. First 3 stages of swim lessons. So the first stage is for mostly 2-year-olds, but if you are an unexperienced swimmer, you can come and do a teen class, but is also counted as stage 1. You talk about your basics backstroke, like just laying on your back, and like breathing techniques and how to keep your head underwater without panicking and sometimes opening your eyes. According to the 2011 title Glorious Swimming Tips, she has other stuff that I like to compare and contrast with mine. So she talks about not opening eyes underwater and wearing goggles, which I do for my younger kids, but once I get to stage 3, I do not let my kids wear goggles anymore. I make them take their goggles off and try to put their eyes underwater, not necessarily opening their eyes, but coming up without rubbing their eyes and practicing being able to swim back to the wall without their goggles. And so for floating on your back, what I do teach is putting your head back. If you try to keep your chin to your chest, you're not going to float. And there's also a big problem with body mass and muscle fat. You're more likely to float if you have fat. If you have muscle, you're more likely to sink. So it's harder for some people to swim, but it's not impossible. There's other strokes like butterfly, breaststroke, backstroke, freestyle, and you learn those in stage 3, which you learn the basics of them, but then when you move on to 4 through 6, you learn the saving technique, which is called breaststroke. Breaststroke is known as a life-saving stroke because it's less tiring, and you can go, it's not very fast, but you're able to go farther. For some people, it's harder, like me. For me, breaststroke is hard, but for other people, it seems to be the easiest stroke, even though the feet are the hardest part of the stroke, which I call frog kick. And it's the only stroke that you do not point your toes, and kids have a hard time concepting that you can't point your toes. So other strokes like breaststroke, butterfly, backstroke, freestyle. Freestyle is the first thing you learn how to swim, then backstroke. Butterfly is the last. Butterfly is the hardest. They usually only teach that if you're willing to do swim team. So it's not really important. Once you get your green band at the YMCA and you have the basic swimming skills of back float, you can tread, you can swim across the pool, which is 25 meters. You get your green band and you're safe. So like I said in the speech, I've talked about the importance of learning how to swim, stages 1 through 3 and stages 4 through 6, which is the basics to more advanced. According to the 2014 Health Organization titled Drowning, these are estimate 360,000 annual deaths worldwide. Global estimates may significantly underestimate the actual public health problem related to drownings with children, making individuals with an increased chance of death men and children have an increased chance of drowning because of safety around pools. I hope you learned something from this speech and try to give swimming a try.